Okay.
Okay, so we just got cut off, but we were kind of talking before about how each of us on our journey has kind of come into our own individualization and stepping into our own power, and some of the techniques that we not only use like with in our own journey, but some of the things that we use when we work with our clients. So McKinsey, I'm curious, like when it as you've been like coming into your personal power, like leading retreats and leading yoga classes, what are some things that have helped you like step into your authenticity and kind of overcome some of those blocks and those challenges that have come up?
It's a good question. Definitely taking time to like disconnect and get social. I like to scroll, I do, but sometimes I'll get caught up in the comparison game and I'm like, okay, got to disconnect because then I'm getting ideas from other people. So disconnecting for sure. Um, I've also recently got into like shamanic drumming. I just bought one while I was down in Nicaragua. And so anytime I'm feeling like stuck or just like in a weird funk, I'll just go grab my drum and go outside and just start banging on it, maybe sing a little bit. That has been one of the biggest things for me stepping into my authenticity is trusting my voice, learning to retrust my voice. I remember being or at a young age wanting to be like a singer-songwriter. And then I actually just uncovered the belief as to why I didn't go after that like childhood dream. And so now I'm stepping back into that and trusting my voice and singing again and trying to do that in my yoga classes as well, which it's funny that we talked about that yesterday with Jen and how like you get that shakiness when you start. Oh God. Hey, sorry. But you get that like shakiness when you're like starting something new and that's a little bit fearful, but that's just like I feel the energy's way of leaving the body, being like, okay, like you're all right to do this. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say just connecting for sure and singing music.
Yeah, I think you're gonna love our guest speaker tomorrow because she is like super into like shamanic drumming and cacao and just like singing it out. Like I love that for her. And I think that like for me personally, like in my journey with like I feel like I'm still kind of coming into my authenticity. So like this is still like something that I'm working with like all the time, but it's like exerting my will, like Rachel, like you said, like if someone is like not like the energy that I want to be around, I'm just not going to be around them, you know, like, and I'm going to choose like how I want to spend my time and I'm going to choose like what I want to do. And a no is a hard no. And I'm not going to be convinced otherwise, you know, like, um, and I think that for me, like the biggest thing that I had to overcome as I was like coming into like who I am and my authentic self is like shame, because I think that like when you go against the grain and you step outside like the narrative of what we've been kind of spoon fed, like it can be really challenging, you know, especially in this like cancel culture. Like now it's even harder to speak your voice because it's like as soon as someone has an opinion that's like different than yours, like now they're going to shame you. And I feel like me, like shame is like a big emotion that I feel like and I hold and store in my body for like the silliest things, you know. So like me coming into who I am and what I like and sharing my voice and feeling like I'm in my personal power has been just like releasing that shame that I've been dragging along with me all these years, that like nasty voice in the back of my head that's like probably the Christian guilt in there, like sin. You know. But yeah, so yeah, just working through that and through movement, through music, big time, through conscious connections, which I think is going to be why like this retreat is going to be so transformational, is just because like we um you know, like sharing space and being able to like be vulnerable with people um and like connect and like have that like sense of unity, you know, that like maybe you haven't been through exactly what I've been through, but I can completely relate to everything that you're saying because like that's a lesson that I've had to come over to like be who I am too, you know. That's just can be so healing and so powerful.
Yeah, your retreats are gonna change women's lives, like when they go there. You guys have both done, like, clearly so much love has been put into this, and you guys already have such great loving nurturing energy. Like, it's just going to be a slam like dunk for everyone who attends. Like, seriously, retreats are like magical fucking portals.
Yes, like what would you say, in the spirit of talking about retreats, like what would you say is one of like the highest moments you've ever had hosting one of your retreats? But at the same time, I want to know what was like, I probably know what the lowest moment was, but I want to know like what was the highest and lowest moment you've had in like, and how many retreats have you hosted so far?
I'm planning my 6th one right now, so I've hosted.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, it was at this past retreat. I brought my friend Hallie to teach sensual dance movement, and the first class we were all awkward. And then we just like kept doing it, and we did it like all like a lot, like over the course of the whole retreat, and we like really got into it and dropped into it. And the last day, everyone went up and they had to do a solo dance in front of everyone, and we like cheered them on, and we said they were sexy, and they had to pick a song, and we had rose petals everywhere and like a red light set up. And one of the girls did hers in the shower because we had like a giant orgy size shower at this. We were like a 12-person shower. We had like all 10 of us, or 12 or 10, I forget, 12 people, I forget how many people, in the bathroom, in like a third of the bathroom, watching her in this giant shower because it's that big of a bathroom. And it was just like, I can't even describe what it was. It was like every woman like ripping off like 10 layers of who they used to be and showing up as the most embodied, confident versions of themselves. And then we had our closing ceremony after, and I haven't cried more in my life, like out of just feeling so touched in like the most emotionally fulfilling way. So I would say, yeah, this past retreat, it's funny, this past retreat was the one I put the least amount of thought into, and I didn't even feel like I was hosting a retreat, which I came to find out the less you put into it, the better they go. So that was the best. And to be the worst, you would think it was the house fire, but something
That is what I was thinking.
house fire though. The house fire was terrifying, and for some reason I felt I'm like very in tune with my body, and my body was pretty calm after it. Like I knew it was going to work out in my favor, and it did. It ended up working out in my favor financially, and also it bonded us in this fucked up way. Like I wish it didn't happen. Like I didn't want to bond in that way, but it did bond us in a fucked up way. Can I swear? I just swore like 5 times. Okay. But it was actually in Hawaii. My photographer, we like went on this hike. I had never been to Hawaii, but everyone told me that we should do this hike. It's amazing. It's like easy. People will be able to do it. So I brought the girls there, and we do the hike, and it's a steep ass hike. It's like 1,500 feet up in like an hour, like 45 minutes. And it's huge, like steep as fuck. So we like do the hike all the way down, and it's to get to the best snorkeling in Hawaii. So we like get down there, and no one tells me that the rocks are slippery as fuck. And it's like there's all these barnacles, and there's this like strong current. And so it's like, okay, so we don't all just like go in, because like everyone told me, not even this like snorkeling people told us to be careful, to watch out or anything. Everyone's like, yeah, go in and have a blast. Well, when we're exiting the water, my photographer slips and like slices her foot open. There's no way in hell she's gonna drive back up the mountain, or not drive, walk up a hike. Like it's just not happening. So as I was also on my periods, I was like, all right, Rachel, like emotionally calm. Like, how are you gonna handle this? And there was this like scuba boat out in the ocean. So I just like got back into the ocean, and I swam out to the boat, and I asked them if they could take her, and they said yes, and they took her to this beach that was near where we were staying, but they couldn't park the boat near the beach. They had to park it like a mile off coast, and so she had to swim with one of the scuba instructors through life or death water to get to the other side, he said, you have to keep swimming or a wave can take you out. And right. Yeah. So she gets there. I'm like having to wait an hour to pick her up. I'm kind of like, I don't have a good feeling. And like I said, I had a good feeling when the house fire happened and it worked out, but I didn't have a good feeling. And I know to trust that shit. And I was like really freaking out the whole walk up. I was like, I don't feel good about this for her. And we had the end, like, then I had like facilitator miscommunication where I get to the top and they go off and do their own thing. When one of them's my chef who was supposed to go home and like cook food for us all. And it just like was this like situation of like, what the hell? And so then I had to like go figure out how to go get this girl. I pick her up. She's like bawling her eyes out because she went through this like life or death situation. And I brought my facilitators back to the place. Our power was out when we got back, so we had to then go get ice and like ice all our food. It was just like thing after thing after thing. I ended up like bawling my eyes out to my facilitators, and I asked my facilitator if she could take over and do the workshop, and I'll do the workshop I was planning on doing the next day, because like emotionally I had it at that point. I was just like so that was like it was like just the most emotionally, it was like someone was like stabbing me like repeatedly, and it just like kept taking it out and put it back in. But I grew a lot from it. So
That sounds chaotic.
yeah.
Oh my God, I don't wish that on anyone. I'm like terrified of the ocean. Like I like the ocean, but if someone told me you have to keep swimming or else the wave's gonna take you out, I'd be like, fuck you. I'm staying on this boat. I don't give a shit what you try to do to me. I will literally cut you if you try to get me on this boat.
I know, I felt horrible for her. I felt so bad. Luckily, she ended up being okay and her foot healed, but yeah, life.
Jeez, yeah, I feel like, like I feel like taking care of myself and just like being in my own world is like enough of chaos, but when then you add like 10 separate energies all trying to like cohabitate, is that the word? Co-inhabit? I don't know, but whatever. The same place, like, it can either go really, really well or like it cannot.
Luckily, it ended up being a great retreat. We did have like a couple other snafus, but yeah, I was talking to you guys before we recorded, like retreats will retreat, like you'll figure it out, but every single one, no matter what happens, it ends up in like the best experience of everyone's life.
Yes, I can totally relate to that. No matter like, I feel like nothing really chaotic or tragic really happened on our retreat that we went on, but it's kind of like a trauma bond, it's like, oh, now we're so much closer because we all just went through this traumatic experience together. And that's like something, you can keep with you for the rest of your life, but then you mix it together with all the other amazing healing things that you're doing at the retreat. And it's just like, now you're sisters for life.
Yeah, I would say the girls didn't know that was it that it what they didn't know how chaotic it was, because I kept it cool around like for the retreat. I think that's why it was so hard, was because I kept it cool.
Wearing like your mask.
I didn't wear a mask. I like told them I had to like deal with some stuff, but I'm really good at breathing and helping everyone else feel calm and safe, which is why I was so concerned about that girl, because I just wanted her to feel calm and safe. So yeah, that's why it's the worst for me, but not everyone. It wasn't for everyone else. They had a great snorkeling time.
Jeez. Terrifying. Well, you got to take risks, right? That's like the theme of the third chakra is like, we got to take risks. We got to put ourselves in scary situations. And that helps us to build our confidence, helps us to like learn about who we are and our strength and how much we have the capacity to overcome, like each time that we like are in one of those positions where like we've got to take a step back and like be that strong rock of a person for everyone around us, or like overcome a mountain, or like cut your foot and have to like swim to shore through life or death waters, like each one of those experiences, even though in the moment it's like the worst thing could happen, is like it's all part of like the plan of like coming into ourselves and coming back home to like who we are authentically underneath it all.
Yeah, 1000%. I hope the snorkeling girl, I actually haven't like really talked to her since then, but I think it ended up being good for her. She was the only other one in it with me, but yeah, totally what you said.
So like one of the other themes I think about I think this is like the last question I'll ask. One of the other big things about third chakra is like being unique and being authentic. And I feel like you really embody that in your business strategy, like in your like selling your business, and just like everything is just like you're so authentic to who you are. You've like very fine-tuned this like um your authenticity, and that I think it, from what I see, is like what draws people to you. You know, like I feel very drawn to you because I know that you're just going to be yourself all the time. You know, I know it's not like a charade, so I like very much trust you. And I'm curious, like what helped you get to that point where you like weren't afraid to like show up as who you are.
There's a couple things. One, it really helped that I went to a nude beach with my family growing up. It really got me comfortable with nudity. And I've like, it really got me comfortable realizing the power, a superpower that it is to be comfortable with nudity. And that helped me feel safe to be. I just get nude everywhere. Like I'll get nude if I'm living with people, I'll be nude at my retreat. So then usually people end up being naked at my retreats because I'm just like naked from the very beginning. That's really helped because when you take your walls down, other people take their walls down, and then you feel it's like perpetuates this like safety loop. The other thing is I said that I was like a huge people pleaser. I sometimes you just get to this point of like being really tired and exhausted and you just like can't bear to people please, you know. I noticed in times like that people would like me more, like if I spoke my mind and I spoke my truth and I said what I believed, even if they believed something different, they liked me more. And so then I was like, oh, wait a second, like people like me more if I'm not that nice or if I'm not like agreeing with them. And that just gave me permission to continue to do that. That being said, like people pleasing can still like come up like here and there in like small ways, like I said with the coworkers and like people I like come on that I pay, and even with clients sometimes. But what really helps is when I slow down and just allow myself to be and breathe and not talk if I don't want to. Like I also really don't like to talk sometimes. And I've gotten really comfortable to just breathe when I don't want to talk. And even though if a voice is going in my head, like, oh, like, maybe you should keep the conversation going, or you should ask them a question. I've just gotten really comfortable with like breathing and not talking. Because the relationships and friendships I want are ones where I can just be. And how will they feel safe to be if I'm not being, you know?
Yes, I do know. I feel like that's a very Taurus thing. I feel like there's sometimes when like I want to be social and I want to talk and I want to connect. And then there's other times where like anything anyone says to me is like nails on a chalkboard. Like I literally just don't want to talk. And like I love you and like, oh my God, I love you so much, but please stop talking to me.
Yes.
Like, okay, yes, but like I love the silence more right now. So you need to shut your mouth. Or like I just don't respond and people think I'm being mean, but I'm like, okay, like if you keep pushing me, I will be mean. But right now, like I'm not. And I think you should be like really happy about that.
Yeah, it builds trust. Like when you're
Really does.
that, like, I want trust in a relationship. You want trust. I'm sure McKinsey, we all want trust. We all want trust. So you have to be the trust first, like that it's safe to just be, or it's safe to speak your mind, or it's safe. I hate when people don't speak their mind now because it's like not fun to have a conversation if someone is agreeing with me the whole
It's
time.
hard to like it's hard to like try. I feel like for me, something that I really rely on a lot is like it's like definitely a trauma response, but I'm always trying to like figure out what other people are thinking and feeling, you know? And like, I love it when someone like, even if it's something that I don't really particularly want to hear, or it's like a criticism, you know, like whatever it is, I would much rather you just tell it as it is, because my mind will like jump through loops trying to figure out like how you're feeling, what you're thinking, why you're not this way, you know? And so like I also really appreciate like people being direct and authentic in their power. And it's like it's magnetizing, you know, it draws people to you when you can be authentic. Like one of my she's actually the woman I nanny for, but she's like a woman's empowerment coach, and she's always like coaching me every single day. She's so cute. I love her so much. But she was like, Kristen, like, so this is the reason why I asked you this question, but she was like, Kristen, like, I feel like you have like a lot to say, and I feel like you're a really great writer, but I don't think that you're like leaving it all on the table. Like, I think you're holding back. And I think that that like takes away from the meaning and the emotion that you put in and you get out of what you write. And I was just like, damn, you know, like how do you overcome that? How do you like come into your authentic self? Like, because like I don't know, I feel like I am my authentic self. I say what I mean, like I know what I like, what I don't like, but then there's like there's like something that a part of me that like sometimes is being held back in certain ways.
Well, first of all, I think that that's a really good friend that she says things like, even if it's not true, because like, here's another thing: people will speak their truth. It doesn't mean the truth or your truth, you know. But that alone, that she said it, I'm like, cool, that builds trust in the relationship. It's her truth, right? Which I think goes with what we're talking about. I totally get what you mean by like translating from in person to online. And if I'm honest, like it's not the easiest thing for me either. I actually think I have a story that I'm way better meeting people in person than I am online. Like that's how I feel a lot of my shit is I meet people in person and then they follow me online. And it's, I don't know, there's something about that. But I find that my content is the best and it's most authentic when I am just like in a high vibe and I get myself in a good state, and whatever I have to say comes out naturally. Because if I'm in my head trying to force content, that's when it becomes overthought and it's not natural. Like if I spend an hour writing a post, once in a blue moon it's good, but it's a lot of the times it's like kind of too worked. It's like not really coming from like, ha, like this is me, like Mario, or like, you know. um so like yes or 2 days ago I made a reel and I was like fucking flying. I have this practice that I do now where I wake up, and as soon as I wake up I'm like, okay, what would the most confident, happy, peaceful, abundant, like rich version of me feel like? And I tune into the feeling first, and the feeling usually then creates like stories. And if I do that from the beginning, like the second I wake up, it has to be the second I wake up. And then I just like keep like pumping my arms. I'm like, yeah. And I can like ride that high. Then the day gets better and better. And then when I write content, I'm like, yeah, it's like, it's almost like it expands your mind to who you really are. So then it flows out of you. So I'm curious, like, Kristen, have you had times then where you felt like your post did really well or was really good or was really you, and it just like flew out of you because you had a lot of ideas because you're excited?
Yeah, like I feel like when I'm excited about a topic or when I have something to say, like and it's done. But then there's like other times where I just can't think of anything, and I'm like, how do I even relate to these people? Like, you know, it's like it's so silly the like, because like there's times when it's so easy, and then there's times where it's like actually so challenging. And it's kind of like I love that practice that you just shared of like putting yourself in the space of like what would the most high vibrational, successful, like abundant version of me do, and like really living in that energy, like from the moment you wake up till the moment you go to bed. Like I think that like one thing that is coming through for me while we're doing this challenge is like maybe I haven't been keeping up with my own practices, you know, like maybe I've been like kind of letting them fall to the wayside, and that's why things have been a little bit more challenging. You know, it's not it's just like you said, where like when you overwork, you know, like all the passion and enthusiasm, it just gets a little stale. But it's like when you're like actually like giving back to yourself and your practices, like I'm really good at like eating well, but like I can't say that the first thing I get up and do in the morning is meditate anymore. Like, you know, but and I was doing good when I was meditating first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I also find like not having the same routine is helpful, because if you're like stuck and you're doing the same shit every day, you're kind of just like programming the same shit. You're like, all right, doing my normal shit I do every day, instead of being like, this is different, this is exciting.
Yeah, so you said earlier something about how like you don't like live your life based on goals anymore. It's like based on intention. Is this kind of like the same practice of like waking up every day with like an intention to be like the most highest vibrational version of yourself and like just letting that define like the day and the actions that you take during the day?
Yeah, and I also want to clarify that the highest vibrational version of myself isn't like a crackhead, like someone might think. Like it can also just be like peace and contentment and like rooted and grounded and grateful.
Yeah. When I think high vibrational, I think like all my chakras aligned. I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling loving. I'm feeling connected to the heavens. I'm feeling connected to my inner vision, my inner intuition. I'm feeling rooted, nourished, safe, like all the things.
Yeah, well, a quick like little like, I believe in it so fucking much. I was telling you guys like about the high vibes selling out retreats. My Sedona retreat was my second retreat I ever hosted. The house was like 4 times more money than my first retreat. I started freaking myself out and I wasn't selling spots. And so I meditated 3 times a day in for 3 days. And each time I meditated, I'd do yoga nidra for 20 minutes and then visualize my retreat for 10. And each time I'd get like so like, yeah, this is the best retreat ever. It felt real. And because I spent 30 minutes 3 times a day doing that, on the third day I sold 3 spots without me even asking. My 2 facilitators I had hired posted about my retreat, like someone found me randomly. I don't know how it works, but I just really believe it does.
I love that. I'm going to do that starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've been working with visualizations. I really have, but I am like, I'm not like, I don't love visualizations. Like, I'd much rather just like be with my breath than I would like think about the future. I don't know what that is about, but that might be like some blockage in my third chakra, maybe just like, or some chakra of like loving to surrender, but not so much like visualize the future.
Is there a sense that you're more connected to? Like for me, visualizing works because I have a very daydreamy, like I have a moon in Pisces. Yours is in Sag, right? So like, is there a way in which you, like, some people are more connected to smell and some people are more connected to hearing things and like words people would say, and some people were more connected to feelings.
I'm very connected to feeling. Like if I can like get myself in an emotion, like that's a good reminder, because like I don't think I really resonate that much with visualizations, but like when I'm feeling like what am I going to feel when I'm in this retreat, like when we're all sitting in our opening circle and like drinking our cacao together and like chanting mantra, like I can like get into that feeling, but like when I visualize it I just get distracted.
Yeah, then spend 10 minutes like cultivating the feeling at the end of a meditation. I just find that it's like at the end of a meditation, it's the most impactful.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is all like such great wisdom. McKinsey, do you have anything that you want to ask Rachel?
Um, not that I can think of, I guess, right now.
Okay, well, we can
Resonate.
Rachel, I want to give you space to like be able to speak about what you do, like what offerings you've got coming up. And then I'll post this video and the first recording into our Facebook group. And then if anyone has any questions or we come up with anything, like we'll just tag you in that and we'll go from there.
Okay, perfect. Well, Mackenzie, were you gonna say something real quick?
Yeah, sorry, I think I cut you off.
Well, it's just kind of cool how like Kristen and I came together because she's more like we're just balancing each other out so well. I'm learning out like throughout this challenge that we've been hosting too, like, because I'm more the visualizer, like I see like the details, like I see a very clear image. And then with her like bringing the feeling in, I think it's just going to create something so magical. Like we don't even know what we're about to open up.
I'm so excited. I really am. I'm so excited. Like when McKinsey asked me if I wanted to host this retreat with her, like I've already decided like I'm going home, I'm nourishing my roots and doing that. Like I'm going to expand, like that's just how it works. It's like you can't build a house, a temple, like a beautiful temple on a rotten foundation. You just can't do it, So I was like, once I had made that decision, I also was like, and what my vision is for the next 5 years is hosting retreats, like really building out my online businesses and stuff. And within like 1 week, like, and I just kind of let it go, like how we do when we like think about what our goals are and what we want our future to look like, or like where we want our vision to go. And I just kind of let it go. And like, it was like the next day, McKinsey even texted me and was like, hey, do you want to host a retreat together? Amazing.
Manifested it. You guys manifested each other. I love it.
Yes,
It's
we
gonna be
met
so
taking a meditation training together.
Mm-hmm.
So sweet. Yeah. So Rachel, tell us your offerings. What have you got cooking on the schedule upcoming?
What I got cooking on the schedule. I got my retreat that's in Sedona, September 27th to October 1st. When's your guys' retreat?
Same month, the 23rd to the 30th.
Okay, so we have like similar dates. So if you're watching this, skip it over. But you can follow me for future goddess getaways. So I have my retreat. I'm running my She's a 10 program right now. Like it's the first round, and we're gonna run another round. I don't know when I'm gonna launch that, so I'm not gonna like mention too much about that. But if you're interested, my She's a 10 program is basically like the group program to cultivate Tenergy over a 4-month container. So you can DM me about getting on the wait list for that. And I'm offering one-on-one coaching right now. I'm opening up some spots for some 6-month deep dive because one-on-one is like my favorite. My Jupiter is in Libra, which Jupiter is in your birth chart, how you expand and grow, and Libra is like one-to-one relationships. And I really thrive in one-to-one relationships and us like building and cultivating that energy together.
I need to know what sign my Jupiter is in now.
I love Jupiter. I mean, you are ruled by Jupiter. Oh wait, no, you're not are you a Sag rising or are you just a Sag moon?
I'm a Scorpio rising.
Oh, so you're ruled by Mars or Pluto, but traditionally Mars. So like
now I'm so angsty sometimes.
it's intense. Mars is it's like how you take action and assert yourself.
Oh my gosh, my Jupiter's in Libra too.
Yeah.
Look at that, Jupiter Libra girls. All right, Rachel, well, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all your amazing wisdom. And I feel like I personally learned so much from this, and there's so much that I'm going to take away and implement in my own personal practices. So I can't thank you enough for being here with us today on our challenge. And yeah, just for everyone who catches the replay of this, if you have any questions, you can drop any questions in the comments, and we'll somehow send them over to Rachel. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Yeah.